Thank you very much. As we remain upstanding, I will ask Reverend Dr. Rono to come and give us an opening prayer.
Before we pray, let me read this scripture of us, which says, "It was during the time of Hezekiah that the upper outlet of the Gion spring and channeled the water down to the west of the city of David. He succeeded in everything he undertook." Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this great day of the year 2025. We want to honor with Jehovah, the Republic of Kenya, from our president to our governor, and the entire leadership of Kenya. We place in this ministry so that, Father, Kenya becomes an example. We want to thank you because of the cooperation between Kenya and Japan, that he has made us to excel in developments in Africa and also the same to Kenya. Today we are here, Lord, to celebrate the goodness and development in Nandi. Bless our governor, bless our MT, and the entire staff of Lake Victoria, that will bless us. Even as we start this meeting, Lord, be with us till we finish with your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. God bless Kenya. God bless Nandi County.
Thank you very much. We can sit. For purposes of protocol, we are pleased to have the occasion being graced by His Excellency the Governor of Nandi. We have the Chairman of Lake Victoria North Waterworks. We have the CEO of Lake Victoria North Waterworks Development Agency. We have the Chief Officer who is present, other county staff, and we have the investors who are here with us. You are welcome to this pre-conference for expression of interest for engineering, procurement, contracting, and financing for the proposed Keben Dam water supply project. At this juncture, I wish to invite the Managing Director, Kapsabet Water, to come and welcome us officially to Nandi. Karibu.
Your Excellency, Governor Stephen Sang, the Chair of the Board, Lake Victoria North, CEO, Directors present, our esteemed bidders, the consultants, I want to take this opportunity to most sincerely welcome you to Kapsabet Nandi Water and Sanitation Company, and in turn also invite you, I welcome you to Nandi. I know His Excellency is here. We will officially welcome all of us. And I want to say this is a momentous time for us as a company, as we welcome you to discuss about Keben Dam. Let me just share that we have a very low coverage in Nandi. Around 13.7% of our population receive potable water. And this project that is being discussed, it's anticipated to push that percentage to around 45%. So it is a very, very important project for us. And I want to say from the onset that we are committed to provide all the support that will be required at the course of bidding and also implementation of this project. So I want to stop there and wishing you a happy new year. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, the Managing Director of Kapsabet Nandi Water. At this point, I wish to invite the CECM or his representative to come and make his remarks.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Honorable Stephen Sang, Chairman, the CEO from La Victoria Agency, the directors present, and all the bidders. Good morning. First of all, I really want to thank God that as Nandi County, we are about to witness the commencement of Keben Dam. I think we have actually waited for these projects for quite some time, but today we can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we really want to appreciate God, and we want to thank the government, the national government, because through the president's intervention, that this flagship project is about to commence. I want to keep our leaders, all our consultants, our total commitment that as county government we are receiving you, and we will give you all the support that you will require from the county government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At this point, I wish to invite the CEO of Lake Victoria Waterworks Development Agency to pick the program from where we have reached. Welcome, and I see you.
Thank you, Tom. Our His Excellency the Governor, Honorable Stephen Sang, Board Chair, directors who are present, our investors who've made it here today, the consultants and the Lake Victorian team from county government. I salute you this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
To me, this day is a great day for us. It's a day that we have purpose to make come to happen, because this is a season, is a session for us that we as an employer who've called for this particular project for the benefit of people in Nandi. We have deliberately made sure that on this day we would engage with you, we would clarify a number of your concerns, so that we level the ground and have an effective competition. And that effective competition will be a culmination of a good proposal that will meet our requirements and beyond. Because this particular project is at the heart of many citizens in this county. Realize having to push water connectivity from 13% to nearly 50%. We have to meticulously implement this particular project with the last mile and a system that is sustainable. That's what we are looking for today. And for us, we want to deliberately interact, and we will have a session where our governor will give a goodwill. We have given you the goodwill, the leadership here will give you the goodwill, and everyone else for the success of this particular project. And therefore, to me, I would want to take the session from here so that we hear from the consultant, who will then, after making his presentation, then the governor will speak from a very informed position now, where we are moving forward, and my board chair. So please, the consultant and the team, the technical teams, I want you to make a brief presentation on the scope of this project, and thereafter, I will welcome remarks from our leadership here today. From the presentation, thereafter we'll make a presentation on the criteria, the expression of interest, for which now we will now open the plenary for the bidders to seek clarification where possible, and then from that session we will eventually have a communique on how we will proceed going forward, on how we have resolved a number of these things, and how we will solve some of your concerns. And therefore, the consultant, the lead consultant, I will just welcome you to come and make a brief presentation on the scope of this particular project, and then thereafter we'll have a presentation on the criteria. You're welcome.
The point of departure is that Kenya is a water-scarce country, but that does not necessarily mean that we do not have sufficient precipitation, but it's because the country has not invested adequately in water conservation structures, and therefore need to regulate the flows along our rivers so that we can make water available for the various competing needs. In particular, when we talk about Keben Dam, this is a dam which was designed way back in 2016 by the National Irrigation Authority, and it was specifically meant for supplying irrigation water to the farmers to enhance their crop production. But after the Project B was taken over by Lake Victoria North Water Development Agency, the mandate of which is specifically water supply and sanitation, the goal now changed from supplying irrigation water to water for domestic use. So, in essence, after the consultancy service was awarded to CAS, we did carry out some studies. With a view to coming up with a sound dam that would meet the objectives of providing water for domestic use as well as sanitation. And the studies which were carried out, first and foremost, were socio-economic studies, which basically aimed at identifying or determining the amount of water required within the supply area, which had already been delineated. Then, after carrying out the socio-economic studies, there was, which actually comprised of population projections with a view to determine the amount of water required. Then we did carry out some survey work along the dam axis, which had already been identified. And then after that, we carried out geological investigations by way of doing electrical resistivity topography. And then from there, we came up with a dam. Now, to start with, we embarked on the Mogo Beach River Basin and identified 4 potential dam sites, which, if developed, can be able to supply water for the various competing uses. But after doing some technical analysis, we settled on the old site which was identified during the initial studies of 2016 by the National Irrigation Authority. But we deviated a bit because the dam, as at that time, was a 33-meter high dam. But in our case, after carrying out topographic survey, we found out that we can comfortably come up with a dam with a height of 43 meters, a dam which is capable of harnessing about 5 million cubic meters. So this is the dam which has been designed by a consultant. And if I go straight away now to the dam studies, what indeed we considered very, very important and very, very pertinent in this particular case was to develop design criteria which could be used now to identify the potential dam sites. This was principally to consider the accessibility to the dam sites, the amount of water which is going to be stored, that is the reservoir storage capacity, then availability of construction materials. Then we also considered sources of pollution, and most importantly, the mode of water transportation out to the consumers, because as much as possible we wanted to encourage gravity flow of water as opposed to pumping so that we can be able to reduce the operation maintenance costs. Now, the other component which was very, very important was the geology of the foundation, because of the huge stresses that are going to be exerted on it by the water column that's going to be impounded. Then most importantly was also the size of the catchment, because it is the catchment which is going to give us the runoff to replenish the reservoir, as well as to generate sediments which ultimately are going to be transported and be deposited in the reservoir and therefore reduce the storage capacity of the reservoir. So the area which we are trying to look at is an area which is a little bit better conserved so that we can be able to reduce the volume of sediments into the dam. And then the hydrology of the river basin so that we can be able to replenish the reservoir even during periods of low flows. Now in that consideration, ladies and gentlemen, we identified 4 potential dam sites. We are calling them the NIA dam, that is the National Irrigation Authority Dam, and dams 1, 2, and 3. And it is worth noting that dams 1, 2, and 3 are all located upstream of the NIA dam. And you can see the dams where they are. We have got dams 1, 2, and 3 up there. And then the most downstream dam is the NIA dam. Now, the consideration in this particular case, ladies and gentlemen, here you can see the catchment areas of the 4 dams. The NIA is commanding 14.8 square kilometers, while Dam 1 has got a catchment area of 9.8 square kilometers. Dam number 2, 8.9 square kilometers, and dam number 3 is 8.9, almost the same. They are very, very close to one another, so similar catchment areas. These are the coordinates of the dams as identified, the northings and the eastings. Now, the dam attributes, these attributes are the ones which we were able to carry out after doing our conceptual designs. But as you can see, the dam which we're talking about here, this is NIA dam. We are now still maintaining that height, but now we thought of exploring the base a little bit further, combing it a little bit further so that we could identify other potential dam sites, which we did now, and these are dams 1, 2, and 3. Now these are the area volume curves or reservoir characteristics of the dams. This is for dam number NIA. This is dam number 1, that's dam number 2, that's dam number 3. And then arising out of that, we found out that all the 4 dams principally are capable of meeting the required water for the year 2040, which is the ultimate year, and then 2050, which is the medium year, and then 2050 being the ultimate year. And again here we are stating that the 4 dams are capable of meeting the water requirements. But of concern in this particular case is that we have to find out or to assess how much runoff we are getting from the catchment area. And as we are all aware, the amount of runoff is directly proportional to the size of the catchment area. In which case, for us now to be able to replenish our reservoir, as big as it is 5 million cubic meters, we therefore decided to settle on the NIA dam, which is commanding, which has got a catchment area of 14.8 square kilometers, and hence the biggest runoff that is required now to fill up the reservoir. Now, the specific studies which were carried out is just as I had mentioned earlier on. We carried out social economic studies, topographic survey, geological and materials investigations, then hydrological modeling. Ideally, what we did after carrying out the social economic studies, these are the objectives and scope of the assignment, approach and methodology, findings and survey, and then conclusions. They are all listed here. We can give you all these. This table, which is now giving us the conclusions of that. Concluding remarks from the socio-economic studies is that the improved interventions plans for better water supply services need to ensure supply to public, social institutions and industries. Then, given the concerns of the upstream communities, that is Kapchorwa, Koilot, soil locations, it is imperative to ensure their access to improved water supply services. And the project has got positive support from the communities, and I believe even the county government, under the headship of His Excellency the Governor, Honorable Stephen Sam, we are going to be the same support. Now, hydrology is a very, very important component, just as I have mentioned earlier on, because indeed, it gives us the hydrological part of the river basin as well as the flood flow analysis which are very, very important for us when it comes to the design of the dam, in terms of the spillway, in terms of the river diversion system. And what was found out when we carried out the hydrologic analysis is that we are talking of a Mogo Beach river basin, which essentially is a tributary of the bigger Mekong River, which is then going to feed River Yala. Now, after carrying out the hydraulic analysis and flood flow analysis, we were interested in finding out or determining the flood flows for the design of the spillway. And in particular, although the Water Resources Authority recommends low flood flows of low or smaller return periods, for purposes of the people downstream and in terms of their safety, we recommended that we use a flood flow of 10,000 year return. But even so, we thought it very, very prudent and very, very appropriate from the experiences we have so far gathered in this particular field, that we design our dam against the probable maximum flood, which is 103 cubic meters per second. Now, these are the findings that we are talking of normal conditions where the perennial flow is about 0.197 cubic meters per second, all the way down. And for that matter, we have now settled on the flood flow of 103 cubic meters per second, which is a PMF for the design of the spillway, while at the same time, for purposes of designing our river diversion system, because it has to be diverted, facilitated construction, we use a 20-year return flood flow, which is 42 cubic meters per second. Now, geological study and review of geotechnical investigations. This indeed is a very, very important component, because no matter how monolithic the foundations may be, we'll definitely get some water seeping through them. And it is therefore very, very important, very, very imperative that we come up with a broad cutting, so that we can see of all the seepages, because they threaten the stability of the dam and it may result in dam failure. So it is against that background that we carried out electrical sensitivity tomography along the dam axis, that is along the axis of the NIA dam, and we found out the weak pockets which require to be grotted. Now, when it comes to the construction activities, this is an area which the contractor will have to address by doing some trial grotting, and then from there he'll be able to establish the mixes as well as the pressures under which that growth mix is going to be injected into the growth holes. Now, the same axis had been investigated now during the 2016 study, and these are some of the findings. There were some boreholes which were done, although we have deviated a bit, because when we were carrying out our ERT, electrical resistivity tomography, we found out that we have to move a little bit down, because there is a fault on the upstream side, and which would give us some problems when it comes to construction. So we deviated a bit, but nevertheless, it is still going to be an area which is treatable and therefore give us the required parameters. So this is now where we are talking about the review of the previous geological investigations. As you can see, it is all listed here. This is the local geology. There's a fault which is actually running across that particular area, and we therefore need to have it completely dealt with. And this is actually going to be made more applicable, more understandable, because we are going to carry out seismic studies along that particular area. They've been carried out, but not conclusively. Sorry. Now, the area is not endowed with good rocks. This will come out later when it comes to the selection of the dam type. And the rocks which are there, they are not actually sufficient to come up with a rock-filled dam, of course with an impervious barrier. And this is because the area is within the forest with a good canopy. So the predominant material in this particular case is clay material, and this is the reason why we are coming up with zones, earth-filled dam, of course with filters for providing stability of the dam by lowering the phreatic line or the depression line of the seepage waters. Now these are the ERT business. all that. Now, topographic survey was done, it was carried out in June 2024, and it gave us a dam higher with a height of 43 meters. That is now from the base to the crest level. And using that same data, we used decade 30 modeling, where we established that we are going to import about 5 million cubic meters of water against a submerged area of 39.1 hectares. And the embankment material, in the preliminary stages, we designed a dam with slopes of 1:3 upstream and 1:2.5 downstream. And that gave us an embankment fill of 968,000 cubic meters, thereby giving us a site stability index of 5.1, which essentially is a moderate site. It's not a very, very bad site. Now, that is the layout plan of the dam. As you can see, the spillway is located on the left-hand side of the dam, viewing from, of course, upstream. And that is now what you are seeing here is the area volume curve for that particular site. Now, this is still the location of the dam. As you can see, there's the crest, and we have got 2 berms, 2 on the downstream side and 2 on the upstream side. And as you can see, we have got the diversion culvert, which is running through the valley from the upstream side right up to the downstream side. And for that to be accomplished, we are going to construct an 11-meter high coffer dam with a slope of about 0.14, and that is now going to give us a facility to evacuate the flows along the river course during construction. That's the river diversion system. Now, classification of Keben Dam, well, according to the local standards as established by the Water Resources Authority, Keben Dam, being a 43-meter high dam, is classified as a high dam, or a high-risk dam, and therefore categorized as an SD3 dam. This is, of course, based on even Kenya Commission on Large Dams and even the International Commission on Large Dams. It is a high-risk dam, according to the Water Resources Rules 2021. Now, this period, as I said, according to the recommendations contained in the Water Resources Authority Rules 2021, spillways for dams, and we have to consider that they are very, very important because they are the ones which ensure the safety of the dam. It is recommended that the spillways for such dams, class SD3 dams, be designed against a return period of 500 years. But as I said, we have found it appropriate to design the spillway against Q10,000. But then once we do that, we have to counter-check it against the PMF. So instead of going to 10,000 year return flood flow, we have therefore decided to directly design the spillway against the PMF of 103 cubic meters per second. Now, hydrological analysis, this is what we have. These are the return periods, and these are the flood discharges or flood flow analysis. Now, Q25 against which the river diversion system is going to be designed is 42 cubic meters per second. 10,000 year return flood flow is 88 cubic meters, while PMF is 103. And as I said, we are designing it against that. Now, spillway. Since this is an embankment dam, the one which was conceptualized by the consultant, it's only fair and very, very appropriate that for embankment dams you come up with spillways of open channel or maybe side channel OG spillway. And maybe you can also consider a morning glory type of spillway with a chute that's going to evacuate the flood flows down to the river course. However, because of the small flood flows, which of course dictate the diameters of the shafts, and also the very fact that you are going to connect the shaft now to the river diversion system, we have more or less neglected that type of spillway, and instead we have adopted a side channel spillway with an outflow section. And according to the design and based on the flood flow which is being generated from the catchment area, we have come up with a dam with a freeboard of 1.2, that is freeboard rounded. And of course, now since we are also considering the wave build-up and wave setup, the gross freeboard of the dam is coming to 3 meters. And the spillway front is, the depth of water, the spillway is 1.8 meters, and the height of the approach depth is 1.5 meters, IDF is 103 cubic meters per second, and the OG's front is coming to 19 meters. Now that is the profile of the spillway from the control point right up to the exit point where we are going to construct an energy dissipation system. Now this is for purposes of designing the side channel control spillway, the OG type. The outflow section, this is basically going to be concrete line because we are falling from a very, very high height right up to the riverbed, which is about 43 meters, call it 43 meters or so, because that's the height of the dam. So essentially what it means is that you're going to generate supercritical flows along the channel. And unless this channel is going to be lined, then chances are that you are going to erode the spillway channel, which is very, very disadvantageous to us. So we have to consider an outflow channel and line it all the way down right up to the terminal point of the spillway, where we are going to construct an energy dissipation system, which in this particular case, it is considered to be a flap bucket. A flap bucket with a radius of 15 meters, and the velocity of water at that particular point is going to 23.11 meters per second. The angle of inclination of the flap now to the horizontal is 19.25 degrees, and the trajectory distance right up to the plunge pool is 55.4 meters. That is a picture of the trajectory distance, the flap bucket and the trajectory distance of 55 cubic meters. Now, when it comes to dam design, as I said, we consider the various types of dams. But ultimately, we've had to settle on a dam which is a bit cheap to construct because the cost in this particular case is very, very important. And it would not be, it would not make much sense for us to go for expensive dams like concrete dams because of the high cost of concrete. So in this particular case, and by virtue of the fact that rock is not readily available within the reservoir area or within the river basin, we therefore settled on a zoned earth-filled dam, of course with inclined filters. Now this dam, it is going to have slopes, as I said earlier on, and then we are going to have the upstream slope protected from wave action by placement of riprap material. Now, when it comes to the embankment design, we are going to zone the materials. That is now after carrying out the soil test so that we can decide, we can see what types of parameters we are having for various borrow areas. We shall therefore be able to zone the materials so that we make use of most of the materials available and avoid cutting them away, because it's also going to be another expensive undertaking. Now, once we have done that, we are now going to carry out the slope stability analysis, which has been done now considering parameters of the internationally accepted soil parameters. You'll see them later. Then at this point in time, we have also to take care of the compensation flow, which is climbing to 0.05 cubic meters per second, and this is 95% of the base flow. And this is the flow which has to be released for the sustenance of the ecological systems downstream of the dam, particularly during the impoundment period of the dam. Now, these are dam parameters. I need not go through them again, but what is important here to note is that we have got a fairly long crest of 542 meters at a width of 6 meters. Then 2 berms, and then the slopes of the filters one is to 0.04. Dam foundation, as I said, we did carry out ERT, electrical resistivity tomography, and growing is in principle very, very important. It has to be done because ultimately we need to create a growth cutting to stop seepage under the dam foundation, because it is going to be very, very detrimental for that particular purpose. Now this is the growth cutting which we are talking about. As you can see, we have got the area to be growted. At the depth of the riverbed, that is where we have got the deep growth holes, because that's where the hydrostatic pressures are maximum. But as you go to the abutment, then you find the pressures are reducing, and therefore not much need to do very, very deep holes. There are some recommended international parameters as to how you are going to determine the depth of these particular holes. Now, stability analysis, as I said, that is a picture of the stability analysis. This is for this is using Janbu method, and this is for after construction works. That is the one after, still upstream, after construction. That is during full reservoir. That is rapid drawdown. That is seepage analysis. And we have seen that where the amount of seepage which is going to be released or which is going to be realized through the dam embankment wall is not so outrageous. It is within acceptable limits because internationally it is recommended that the seepage loss on daily basis comes to about 0.05% of the entire reservoir storage capacity. So we have got much less seepage than that. Now, river diversion, as I said, we are going to divert the river by constructing an 11-meter high cofferdam and twin reinforced concrete culverts measuring 2 by 2 meters with a length of 280 meters. That is now from the control point right at the terminal point where we are going to have our energy dissipator. And it's going to be designed against the Q25, which is equal to 42 cubic meters per second. And what is important to note here is that ultimately, we are designing a cofferdam which is going to be incorporated into the main embankment wall and therefore reduce the cost of construction. These are the draw-off works. We have got the raw water. And here I need to mention that with the raw water, and based on the findings we had with the county people, there was a nudge that more areas should be included, and this has already been done. There's a picture to that effect of the areas which have been covered. And we have got a total tonnage of about 900 kilometers. That is for water supply. While for distribution, we have got about transmission, we have got 80 kilometers. So all these have been taken into consideration. Now, environmental flow, I talked about it, which is 95% of the base flow, which is equal to 0.05 cubic meters per second, and it has to be provided to sustain the ecological systems downstream of the dam. Now, with dam instrumentation, this is a very, very important component because it informs us about the behavior of the dam once it becomes operational. So that in the event that there could be some hazards or some risks which are being experienced, then people can be informed about them. And for that matter, we have recommended that we install survey monuments, water gauges, operations start by piezometers, then combined inclinometer and settlement gauges, vibration instrument, that's an accelerometer to measure the amount of seismicity, if at all is going to be realized. Then weather conditions, of course, these are very, very simple instruments which are going to be installed, comprising of a thermometer, barometer, hydrometer, anemometer, and a wind vane for measuring the velocity of wind. Then instrumentation house and cabling. The dam break studies. This is indeed a very, very important activity because of the area downstream. It is heavily inhabited. And according to the recommendations contained in the IPOL document 111, it is recommended that for a dam of such magnitude, you need to carry out dam break studies, and this will comprise of mapping the entire area to see the levels of inundation in the event that the dam may fail, and you get that we have water now running downstream. As I said, that area is heavily inhabited, and we would not like to get any losses arising out of that. You know, floods, of course, they cause a lot of damage, even loss of human lives, which is very, very undesirable in this particular case. So that one is going to be carried out. Now, can I invite my friend, Mr. Kenyatta, to talk about the water supply concept? Thank you very much.
The CEO, the Victoria North, the contractors and the investors, and the leadership of the Lake Victoria North Waterworks Development Agency, the chairman and the entire board. Good afternoon. Thank you and welcome. I'll continue from where Engineer Njurumba has left. Thank you, Engineer. The system that was conceived is intended to store water and then supply water for domestic use. and the engineer has provided a very detailed brief on what is required under the dam component. I'll try to be very brief and take you through the extent of the project in terms of water supply. My name is Engineer William Kenyatta. I'm also from CAS Consultants. So, as stated earlier, we undertook demand analysis to be able to know what is the water requirement in the entire project catchment area for the next 20 years, which was determined as the project implementation period. We plan that between now and the year 2030, we should be able to implement this project, so that the initial year of the project is the year 2030, and then the future year is the year 2040, and the ultimate year is the year 2050. So that gives us, between now and 2030, to be able to bring on board contractors, investors, develop the project, but the plan is by the year 2030, we should have the water flowing in the system. The capacity of the dam has been designed, and the water treatment plant has been designed to provide 24,000 cubic meters per day. That's equivalent to 24 million liters. I think most of us are conversant with liters. That's equivalent to 24 million liters that would be supplied. That will be able to meet the water requirements for the next 20 years within the project area. The treatment option that has been proposed at this phase is a standard conventional treatment. We've located the dam where the upstream of the dam is a forest with very minimum human-generated pollution. So we'll only be dealing with siltation, normal water quality issues, and therefore we've adopted a conventional treatment plant, which composed of basically chlorination, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, and disinfection. So the conventional treatment covers those basic processes. We do coagulation, then we flocculate the particles, we allow them to settle, then we filter our water. After we filter our water, we disinfect. So that is what has been adopted. And then, of course, after disinfection, we distribute water to the intended consumers. Now, it's important to state that this is not a bulk water supply system, but we are looking at a complete system. Complete system means that we are not only distributing the water to demand areas, but we're also undertaking last mile connectivity, so that the 900 kilometers of pipeline engineer talked about are the small pipeline to be able to ensure that the 45% target of population of Nandi County have access to potable water. Some of the considerations we've done to take you through so that you can come to a common understanding is that we've tried to minimize the resettlement required for the project. So this project is highly accepted, and we want to ensure that we minimize the impact it has on the local settlement. So the pipe network follows mainly the major road networks, and in urban areas we've tried to adopt the urban development plan in laying out our last mile pipeline connectivity. We've also considered settlement patterns. These were obtained from building layouts and satellite imageries, so that we could be able to know where are the key concentration of population settlements within the project area. So in summary, in terms of pipeline system, we have the main gravity line from Keben to Kaptumo, which is the main transmission main that is taking water from the dam to the farthest point on the main transmission line, has a total length of 47 kilometers, or 46.7. Then, of course, we have introduced a loop that joins Kapsabet and the Nandi Hills town, and that loop is 15 kilometers. We have Kapsabet line that I'll show you when I show you the layout. It offsets from the main line, and it brings water straight to Kapsabet. That line is 17.7 kilometers. And of course, we have line to Olesos, which is another key center that we intend to supply, and the length is 8.9 kilometers. So basically, the areas you are seeing there are the key centers that we intend to supply our water to. And that is Nandi Hills, Kapsabet town where we are, Kaptumo town, and Olesos town. There are several markets and small centers within the coverage area, and there are also rural communities which will be supplying under the project. So what I've told you, the main lines generally covers a total of 88 kilometers, just about 90, and that is the size of the pipelines. So we have pipes which have, the biggest size is 560 millimeter diameter, and the smallest distribution pipeline is 200 millimeter diameter. It's important to appreciate that the system is fully gravity. We don't anticipate pumping. We've divided the pipe based on material requirements. Most of it is steel, and then there is also areas where we will be using HDPE line. So steel is mainly on the transmission and the local pipe network. On some critical areas, we recommend the use of HDPE pipelines. We've provided storage to manage not only emergencies, but also to provide for demand storage. When there's high demands in the morning or in the evening, you can be able to meet the demand requirements in the system. So storage, as based in the Kenya Design Manual, we provided for 50% of the capacity of the treatment plant or the daily demand for the project area. So the demand is 24,000 meter cube, and so we provide the storage of 12,000 cubic meter. This storage is distributed within the project area, with the biggest being the contact tank. We are trying to store as much water as possible at an elevation that commands the entire project area, and so we have a contact tank which is located within the T-Works, which is located just downstream of the dam, about less than a kilometer from the dam. It has a capacity of 3,000 cubic meter. We've provided now several storage distribution tanks which are spread across the key commercial areas within the county. Specifically, we have Olesos tank, which will be 15,000. We have another 3,000 cubic meter tank in Nandi County, and another 3,000 cubic meter tank that will be supplying Kapsabet. We also have a 1,000 cubic meter tank in a place called Koilot. I'll show you those shortly. And then we have a 500 cubic meter tank to supply the Cheptiret area. This is just a new upcoming area. It's a critical area on your way to Eldoret, the junction to Baraton University. So this is the layout. This is the layout for the main transmission. There's another layout for last mile connectivity. I think that will be provided in the bundle of documents that you receive. So the conceptualization as it is at the moment is that on the far end, on you don't have, there's a dam on the far end. The farthest end is where the dam is located. I hope you'll have an opportunity to visit that today. So from that place, once water has been stored in the structure that engineers talked about, just downstream of it, we are constructing our 24,000 cubic meter storage tank, 24 cubic meter treatment plant. Then from that treatment plant, we distribute the water through gravity. So the main line from the 47 kilometer line, which starts from the dam, comes all the way to the lowest corner on the extreme right of your map. So that is Kaptumo. So we are getting water all the way from the dam to Kaptumo. Then along the way, we are giving the first branch go to Olesos, which is the town on the upper end. We'll supply Olesos and the communities that have been mapped there. Then from Olesos, we come to somewhere in the middle where we'll branch our pipeline into one line coming straight to where we are, which is Kapsabet. Sorry, which is, yes, this is Kapsabet town. Then the other line goes to Nandi Hills. So there'll be a two-forked branch. Then from Nandi Hills, we'll do a loop where we'll be tying Kapsabet to Nandi Hills, that is the loop, and then we'll now proceed with a line that goes all the way to Cheptumo, which is where our key and the major transmission network covers. And of course, what we've mapped there in different colors are different wards or different sub-locations, which we've mapped, and we've used the population of those sub-locations to estimate the demand of 24,000. And so those are the key supply areas, with concentration in urban centers, but also with provision of water in the rural areas. There is another network that is now feeding on this, to distribute this water to now mapped individual households, so that this project is not just supplying water to the tanks within the network, but taking water to the last mile consumer. Then, of course, as indicated earlier, it's critical for such project that we take care of upstream communities, which, because of the way they are located, might not benefit from a gravity system. So we've made provisions to consider upstream communities of Kapchorwa, Koilot, Sochoi locations, which are the immediate neighbors and the host community for the dam. They'll be provided with projects which can be able to give them water and also provide for last mile connectivity to those communities. So this is provided as a provisional sum in our design, so that once the project begins, we identify springs that can be protected, small systems that can be constructed on downstream area to supply the communities that live around the dam. So that has also been provided for. If you allow me, I think cost estimate, you can be able to see our preliminary cost estimate is that the project will be able to take just about 10 billion shillings, with the dam component taking 5.8 and water supply taking 4.6 billion. We did a bit of financial analysis. Those are our ratios, the net present value, internal rate of return, and you can see them, you can use them to analyze. I think you'll do your own analysis to come to your own conclusions based on the tariffs that Kanawasco are currently using. I think it's important to note that the new law allows them to adjust tariffs to repay their loan or to meet financial viability that might be required. I think that covers the scope of the project. If I can quickly just highlight the key aspects of the scope as contained in the document, I think that would be So, in summary, this project has the following scope. We are supposed to construct a dam, the Keben Dam, with a reservoir height of 43 meters and a capacity of 5 million cubic meters. It also has a water treatment plant of a capacity of 24,000. We are supposed to construct a bulk transmission system that we've illustrated of a total length of 90 kilometers. We are supposed to do a distribution network for last mile connectivity in all the villages that we've shown, and with emphasis on the centers that we've covered. That covers Kapsabet, Nandi Hills, Olesos, and Ketumo, and also the local communities where the water pipeline systems are passing through. It is estimated that the total length of pipeline to meet that is 800 kilometers of pipeline. That is small sizes ranging from DN150 to DN20. That is the 1-inch pipe for connections. Such a system will require that we do some bit of SCADA and smart metering and management for evaluation and monitoring of the system, and a bit of remote control. So that will also be incorporated in your designs and implementation of the project. The comprehensive last mile connectivity will also cover jet water supply, and will also include, very importantly, facilities to enable the water company to be able to discharge their mandate as required. I think you've seen what they have. Included in the project is an office for the local water company, and then also have site office for the running of the project during implementation. I think that is the scope of work. Do we go through the qualification now, or we do that later? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Board Chair, John Moiting, our CEO, Joel Omalwa, our Director, Chief Officer from Nandi County, MD Kanawasco, County staff, LVN staff, and Kanawasco staff and the investor. Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Mondi, the Acting Manager, Infrastructure Planning and Design from the Victoria North Water Works Development Agency. The two engineers took you through the scope for Keben Dam, water supply, and as part of the expression of interest for this scope, also Chapter 8 had been slotted in and which had been done by a consultant known as a Design Master Plan. I will just highlight some of the areas that they had gone through. Just a quick one, and then we'll invite our Chief Manager Technical Services. Now, the chapter 8 that you had been number 4, it was part of the scope that had been sorted in the Keben Dam water supply, was to cover part of chapter 8, Seguts, Kamojil, Kiteden, Kapchesil, Belekaya, and Kaptildi. The design horizon actually was 20 years, whereby it was it had been designed for 2039, 2049, and 2049 being the ultimate year. Then the sorry about that one. The total demand for the project was 4,408. That is at ultimate for 2049, whereby they had selected 3 options within the system. The first, the existing infrastructure within the system there was an existing system whereby they were extracting water from Mugoli. There is an existing system known as Mugoli intake, or Mugoli River, whereby the intake, there was an intake river at Mugoli. Then there is a 50 cubic meter water sump, which was existing, but is not in a good state at the moment. Then we have a pump house and 150 raw water pipeline, and then 50 cubic meter composite filtration units within the system, and masonry tank, 2 masonry tank actually of 100 cubic meter within Chapter 8 Primary School and Kamojil area. The structure at the moment is at a dilapidated state. That was part of the existing structures within the scope. Then number 2, there was another scope. There was another existing system known as a Kuntel Spring Water Projects. And then the final one was a Kimogil Spring Water Projects. Now, the Design Master Plan had 3 basic options, whereby the first option was to abstract water from River Mugoli, or the Mugoli River, whereby they were to rehabilitate the existing system and abstract cubic meter of 4,500 cubic meter per day. Then there was the construction of raw water rising main pipeline, which was about 150 meters long. Then rehabilitation and upgrading of the existing water treatment plants, and then some reticulation system, and then they were to solarize the system. That was part of the proposal in the feasibility. That the map will share the feasibility so that you can be able to use through. And then option 2 was using River Kingwal River. This system actually, they had proposed to do 2 pumping. That is pumping the raw water, they treat, and then they pump again to a high hill, and then they gravitate to other areas. And they were proposing a treatment plant of 4,500 cubic meter, and construction of distribution network of almost 47 kilometers long, and then they was to solarize the system. Then option number 3 was to go higher bits in River Kingwal, whereby the raw water was to be gravitated and then pumped to a high area, and then gravitated to all other areas by gravity, with a total length of 58 kilometer long pipeline distribution network. Also, this system was a pumping scheme. Then they did financial analysis, economical analysis, and all the technical analysis. And by the end of the day, option 3 became the most viable option. Option 3 was the most viable option, whereby they were to gravitate raw water and then they pump. The total cost of the 3 options, each option, the total cost was allowed the first option. The first option was allowed 1.08 billion. That was using Mugoli River. Then the second option, using Kingwala as the source. The second option, which was double pumping, was 1.2 or 1.226 billion. Then the third option was 1.18 billion, whereby this is partially, this one is gravitating raw water and then pumping the treated water and then supplying chepterit. But now, as you have seen, Engineer Kenyatta has presented and have captured chepterit as being part of the area to be commanded by the gravity raw water for the Keben. So this chepterit will be just part of the distribution network, whereby after water has been gravitated to the 500 cubic meter that engineer presented, now it can be able to be commanded by gravity to all other areas of chepterit water project. This, the first assignment had been given to the design master plan, like I had said in the, initially, and then the second one, which was Keben, by the CAS consultant. Now they are going to merge both options through these arrangements, so that chepterit can be part of the area to receive water by through the same project. Thank you. That was the presentation of chepterit water projects. I will invite CMTS.
Of the work that is expected of you as the bidders. Just wanted to clarify that we have chepterit, it is a complete feasibility study, and we have Keben, is also a complete feasibility study. Your input will be to optimize the solution for the two. Looking at the two feasibility studies, the design should optimize the best solution. So you have those, they'll be available to those who will go to the stage after this pre-qualification process. So those who will go to the next stage will have the opportunity to look at those two documents, optimize the design so that the solution you get is the best value for money. I just wanted to make that clarification. In the advert, you saw buildings. We consider that as a minor component. In fact, even when you consider the cost. But for information, we'll have 2 administration blocks within the project, one for Kanawasco and one for Lake Victoria North. And I think you just need to have that, but it is a very small component of the entire project. Thank you very much. I think now we can go to the next session.
We can clap for the engineer.
They've done it so scientifically. Their methodology has been clear, and they've pointed out the gaps that we would expect. And some of these gaps had come from the community, the upstream community. And therefore, the designs actually, you have to look at that, especially the areas in Kapchoro, Moko Beach, Sochoy, and Koilot. We need to have a solution for them so that they don't feel left out. And it's good that they have suggested we have got a provision for it to deal with that. So actually, we'll be glad to see that dam done. Now, at this juncture, having been bombarded with that, let me welcome my boss here, the chair, to make his remark, as then he will welcome the governor to make his remarks. Thank you. Welcome, Chair.
Governor, Nandi County, I have met you many times now. I can call you my friend. The management of Kapsabet Nandi Water and Sewerage Company, consultants, contractors, there are various names with which you refer, leaders. Good afternoon. My name is John Kimoite. I am the one privileged to be chair of the board of Lake Victoria North Waterworks Development Agency. You know, as I was seated there, the consultants, the professor there, the colleague, and even my engineers would speak a lot of Greek, you know, about this and that. I fall in the category of those who would ask basic questions about a project like this one, you know. When will it start, for example? When will it be complete? And how many beneficiaries upon completion? And also, what is the cost? This other information in between here, of course for me, I have the advantage of my engineers, who, when I have questions which the consultants are not available to give answers for, and reach out to, you know, and of course, as a board, once you people have left site for the day, perhaps we can visit site in the dead of night and familiarize ourselves on some of these things. Keben Dam. Keben Dam has been in the minds of, you know, making some remarks about the start of the process to act. This area is excited too. And we are talking about Nandi County. It comes to close or be at par with the rest of the counties. We have 6 counties, and then Victoria North, we know that you have left things you would otherwise be doing elsewhere and chosen to come here. We're a country of public participation lingua. Hiyo kila mtu anajua, hata yule mtoto mdogo, even a small child understands what public participation in this country is. So to get buy-in for, because then I and him, we have had some ongoing conversation about, I'm sure he'll get the message. And also from us, of course, Keben Dam project, which is why I would want to give my assurance that my board will be successful
at the end of the day to be the ones to implement this project. You have seen the gentlemen and ladies know that we are here. This is the Lake Victoria North Water Works Development Team. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We take your seats. Is committed to not just oversee the proper and complete implementation of this very much beyond this point, because if I did, then I may begin to say things that would contradict some of those things that I didn't even understand.
Let's have our seats. Representatives and officers from the county government, from the water company, and from the Victoria North. Our partners, bidders, cited, and our bishop, my good friend Dr. Rono. We are excited as a county government and as a leadership within this region. Has been in the mind of the locals, the leadership at the local level and at the national level. We started talking, conceptualizing, and pushing for this project. Then in 2013, I was the senator for this county. Pushed to the reality that we are at 13% of water connectivity or coverage within Nandi County. One of the lowest in the Republic. A lot of the, probably by 10%. But this particular one carried the potential of pushing us by closer to 30%. And that is why for potential it has in increasing the water coverage. Maybe with the benefit of hindsight now, had we put our minds on a few of the others, maybe they would have taken off. Because of the fact that it was considered such a huge project. We are happy that finally we have come to this. And I really want to thank close to 6 times. Discussed, looked for models. I think there was one, there was one contract that had been awarded. And I think it was going to push us by only about 6 or 7 or so %. I am happy that we were able to cancel that. Reorganized chairman who may not have understood much. I struggled capturing and hearing, but somehow, especially engineer, members of parliament, members of the county assembly, the entire leadership of Nandi County, to say that this is a project that we welcome. For 10 years as deputy president, promised, worked around the clock, and now as president, he has talked about every time he is in Nandi County, office of the president himself. The current head of public service, that led to the agreement that we go the EPCF way for purposes of ensuring that we have a whole cover last mile connectivity. I know quite a number of projects sometimes do not have the component of last mile connectivity. We insisted that for the viability of this project, this is critical. This would be the first major like this that is gravity driven, and that manages the cost for us. Again, I'm more excited because we have one particular one here, the water that serves the headquarters of Lake Victoria North in Kakamega and the environs in Western region comes from the people who are within a radius of even 1 or 2 kilometers within the project site do not have water. I am happy that looking at the design, you have already catered for that particular one. That was also an opportunity to try and find a way of, placing the project and getting resources for the project. But really, because I know this is the start, we will work with you through the journey, the Department of Water in the county government of Nandi, with the water company, to the senior leadership and the community leaders within. this is a project that we are excited about. And therefore, I hope and start. And therefore, our potential bidders, our potential contractors, and interested companies to do this job, we welcome you to Nandi County. On behalf of the great people of Nandi, on behalf of the leadership, on behalf of the residents, we can't wait to benefit from this project. We look forward, and you are the good president himself. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you very much. I would like to just take very few minutes to have the contractors, the bidders, introduce themselves, because your project is delivered. You have heard from the governor that the interest and the excitement about this project goes all. This will just move around. Yeah, just move this one.
In no order, I will start.
Project in Malindi, and we worked with the Ministry of Water and Coast Water, and this is the first time we, have a
company or two companies sitting here, or several.
Okay, thank you. This is Strabag International. It's a German company.
Keben International. We are very happy to be here. Thank you very much. Okay.
Protocol observed. Good afternoon.
Our team from Sun Hydro Corporation Limited. We also have many the dam and water supply project.
This joke. Thank you. Any other I've left out?
Good afternoon.
My name is Amai John, representing Lasan and Taubro of India. Thank you.
It's Liang, and our company is called China Chems Engineering, and my company stay here almost 20 years, and also we have excellent finance capability, and also we also have interesting for this project. Thank you.
I want to invite the Chief Manager Technical or his representative to highlight the mandatory requirements.
I think it's important we highlight them, and you take note so that we don't lose any potential investor for failure to prepare a proper document. This doesn't have to be local, from wherever country you're incorporated. Please include that as part of mandatory requirement. The other mandatory requirement that we'll be looking for is the form of a JV agreement, should be attached in the document. Number 4, very important, we expect that power of attorney be in possession. And number 5, and very importantly, we expect to have a resolution from the companies in the form of a board resolution, appointing one of the directors to submit a bid, negotiate and possibly execute a project agreement on behalf of the consortium. Will also be a mandatory document. That is under eligibility criteria. Those value of 15 billion, at least 2 within the last 10 years. The document that we expect you to include will be signed contract agreement and or prime contractor in developing projects with a value of no less than 50 billion or equivalent in aggregate over the last 10 years. Must have a value exceeding 15 billion. What we expect you to attach to demonstrate that is signed contract agreement, completion certificate.
Are there people with clarifications? Where's the other mic?
I'll be walking around with it.
There's a question already. So I'll give you this mic so that you can rest.
Sorry.
Hey, I'm almost breaking my ankle.
Okay, good afternoon to all of us. Maybe we wish to seek a clarification based on the, whatever we have, the bid is supposed to be submitted on 24th of this month. So it was a request and a prayer from our consortium that at least we have an extension of time on the same. to allow us to have a responsive document on the same, since we know all of us just coming from the Christmas holidays and most of the offices are picking up. So our thought was about a 3 weeks extension will do. We will be very happy to be guided on that. Thank you.
I think we take all the questions first, then we take 5, then we answer the 5, then go on. Any other clarification?
Hi, engineer. Because this project is the EPC plus F, I have several questions about the financing. In the documents about financing standards, at section 8.3, it names that the bidder shall demonstration financing capacity by blah blah. Please clarify that this financing capacity is for the contractor or for the financing agency. You know, we have done some several EPCF projects before, but for the loan agreement, it's between the agency or the bank and the government. So it is hard for us to get the original copy of the loan agreement. So it is hard for us to prove that we have the ability. So please name it that. This is the question 1. And question 2 is, you know, the financing agency, the list of remarking question about the cost, the funding resource, and the borrower of the project, and the details for the advance payment, the retention percentage. And this is the bank cares a lot, and they want to clarify if it is possible to get the feasibility study report to them, so that they can evaluate the project for the first time. And we also have the SIP require that for the extension for the bidding. You know, not only for the Christmas, the Chinese New Year is coming, so we want like a 1 month extension. Thank you, engineer.
Any other concern?
Good afternoon, engineer. Also, I have some question to let you clarify for me. First one, just now you mentioned about there is a power attorney, and the other one is a board resolution. Regarding to these two issues, I believe these two are redundant. I think it's the same paper or same like power attorney. That means it's also has been power attorney has been issued. It proves that the company has agreed to authorize the representative to submit the bid, negotiate, and also sign the contract. But also your number 5 board resolution also describe the same purpose. So is it like the alternative, like I just choose one, like the power attorney as the submitted document, and just ignore the board resolution? Or I choose the board resolution instead of the power attorney? Please clarify this one. And the other one is, you see the financial statement, you mentioned about have to be notarized, right? But this final statement is already audited by the third party. So is it necessary to have them notarized again? This need to clarify. The other one, you require the lines of credit amounting to 7B Kenya shillings, or equivalent to in other. I'm sorry, this is missed. But this LC, this credit will be there will be a beneficiary. This beneficiary will certificate to Ministry of Water or to Lake North. This need to be clarified. The LC. And the other one, there are two parts mentioned, the audit financial statement for the past 5 years. The other one, like the financial criteria, is 5 or 2 years. Which one is correct? Is 5 years only or 5 or 10 years? This need clear. The other one is also for the number 4 financial criteria. The bidder shall demonstrate financial capacity by submitting relevant document of the firm or members of consortium or joint venture responsible for arranging financial. For the document requirement for that line, the column you mentioned, number 2, portfolio of loans or credit of a similar nature issued over the last 5 years. I just wondering what kind of a specific document I need to submit. This is not clear, I think. Like you can give us your format. We can fill a form that we can fill in or to follow. Just what kind of a specific document does this refer to? This is what my question. The other one also, like Mr. Duan said, the financial agreement. Financial criteria, like you let us to provide or submit the financial document. Like the financial agreement actually is it's a confidential document between the lender and maybe the government or Lake North or Ministry of Water. So as a contractor, we cannot find the original copy. Even we get a copy, it's illegal. The contractor cannot submit this document. So I need you to clarify what kind of a document we will to submit to you. Like we just submit our contract between contract and maybe our client, like the Lake North. Is it enough, or you need more document? Especially for the rate you mentioned about not less than 8%. This we cannot give it to you. This you guys need to clarify or to ask the bank or the financial authority. Okay, that's what I want you to clarify. Thanks.
I think we can run those ones first. Then we'll have another series.
Now that I'm prone to getting accidents when I'm up here, allow me to talk from here. Then my colleagues will support where there's further information. And of course, some of these the questions we may not have the answers direct. We may consult and then we'll issue all the clarifications together in due course, but in good time. Before the submission date. I think we have been asked about the financing criteria, whether it is of the contractor or the financing agency. The financing criteria is for the financing agency. Contractors are not financiers. They execute projects. But this is an EPCF contract. So we expect the contractor to partner with a financing agent who will be financing the project. And we need to evaluate the capacity of the financing agency. Is he in a position to finance or he is not? And I think that's what the criteria is trying to do. That when you come with a partner, he must have the capacity to actually finance the project. So the criteria there are for the financing agency, and if we are working together because they are interested in financing. I've not seen a bank that is not interested in lending money. So they should be able to partner with you and give you the necessary documentation to enable you proceed with this bid. That is the spirit. And I want to connect it to what the other gentleman has asked about the financing agreements. If the bank can agree or the agency can agree to authorize you to share, it's well and good. If they can't, there's possibility of a redacted version of the agreement, provided we have the salient information we require. So you can redact some of the aspects that the bank considers to be very confidential, but we need to know at what interest rate they have given financing before, to what volume. These are general things that sometimes are also reported in the press. So we don't expect you to find difficulty in getting the salient information. The third option is for them to execute a document that is legal, that is notarized by a commission of oaths, that gives us the information that we require to be able to evaluate the financing capacity of the financing agency. We need to know that because the parameters need to comply with the Government of Kenya requirements. The feasibility study report sharing, I want to believe for the purposes of you call it the pre-qualification, I'm not so sure it is very necessary. I know that once you are actually going into financing, you'll need the feasibility study report, but you may clarify further why you feel strongly that you need it at this point and not at the second stage when you will be putting in your requests, when you'll be putting in your proposals, your detailed proposals. I think that at that time that will be required. But now we just need to know what your capacity is as the contractor and as the financing agency for you to undertake such a project. Extension of time, this one I'll leave to Mark Kanda. He'll come and he'll say something about it. Power of attorney and board resolution, they may look the same, but they are complementary. Because the board first authorizes itself and its management to participate in this process. Once maybe the company managing director or whichever director has been authorized, he may not be able to come himself, that director. And he may have to execute a power of attorney for somebody else to come and attend to the processes that will be happening within the Republic. So you will need those two. It's not an either or. That is the understanding behind it. I don't think it will cost you much to get the two documents. Then the line of credit, the implementing agency here will be Lake Victoria North, Waterworks Development Agency, of course acting on behalf of the ministry. But all contracting issues will be handled by Lake Victoria North Waterworks Development Agency. The other aspects are internal government affairs. We work on behalf of the ministry and of course the National Treasury, who owns all assets that the government invests in. So I hope that clarifies your question. But if there is need for further clarification, I'll give you opportunity to raise. Okay?
Just another question, just reply. Is it official reply by email to us?
Yeah, we'll do. We'll do. But this is for your own, as you go away, you have that information, so it does not stop you from proceeding. The ones you'll find very complicated, we'll tell you this one. We'll consult further, and then we will send by email. The audited financial statements, they are for 5 years, so we'll correct that. 5 years should be sufficient because that's what is recent. The health of the company 10 years ago and the health of the company today may be completely different, especially after COVID. So it is 5 years. That should be sufficient. A portfolio of credit will work out a form that will come with the clarifications so that we standardize for everybody the information that we require from you.
And I think that will be able to respond to that issue. I think the last one, which was about the documents being confidential, I have already responded. So if you are working together, the bank should be interested in winning a financing contract. Thank you. So we can stop.
Run another oil is there? Can run another series. But the extension of time you will say last. You will say last.
That is but there is something. I will say last, the extension of time. My name is Mark Kanda, Manager Supply Chain. There is something that I want only to add from what engineer said. Line of credit. Because this is a pre-qualification time, it is not tenable we have a line of credit at pre-qualification stage. We expect at a time of going to second stage, you give out that line of credit. Maybe to stand in for that, you can have a letter of intent to issue a letter of credit to that effect, to substitute this line of credit.
Any more questions?
Yeah, thank you. I think most of the question has already been answered by my competitors, but I'll go to the specific one which has not maybe touched. And most of the questions we had initially, we have written them down. Maybe we could just share that, just to supplement that. One which has not been touched is about the requirement of a contractor having executed 2 contracts of a similar nature under EPCF in Sub-Saharan Africa. We all know that this concept is a new concept, and it will be very, very difficult to have a contractor who has done 2 similar contracts for the last 10 years in Sub-Sahara. So we reckon that to make sure that we're going to have a competitive process, at least to have a contractor who can execute the works, we could just omit the Sub-Sahara Africa. I think it's something that we could all agree. Just because on the desktop check, most of the contractors have not done 2 contracts. We all agree a contract of this nature takes 5 to 10 years before it comes to, you can come to fruition. So to have done 2 contracts at the same time within a period of 5 years, that may be a tall order. So, and if we could look at that, then maybe have an amendment of the document. I think it's something already which was foreseen, that after the clarification, an amendment could be issued. Then the other one we could which I could just emphasize, is the requirement of a document from a bank. We all know that the contract is a confidential agreement. So if you ask the bidder to give a document from a bank, from a previous loan, or that will be a bit difficult at this stage. Maybe going into the future. At present time, we could look at just an intent from a bank to show that a contractor is able to secure the loan within the margins given here, yes, but just a formal letter from a bank without asking for an agreement from the previous project. And then lastly, for us to get a confirmation from the bank, because this is under EPC and F, most of the banks, they always have to ask for the feasibility studies for the projects themselves. So I think it has just been mentioned that this is not a requirement for this process. But from our past experience, a bank will not even give a letter of intent without having looked at the feasibility studies, the risk involved in it. And lastly, it's just a request, if you could share a copy of the presentation which you have just had this morning. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Just to reiterate what my colleague has said here, the requirement of performance in Sub-Saharan Africa, I would like to know if maybe someone has performed such a contractor outside Sub-Saharan Africa, if that is considered as an added advantage, or if even if it's outside Sub-Saharan Africa, if it's, it stands as a qualification. And then regarding the extension of time, I would like to ask at least 2 months. Just thank you.
2 months or 2 weeks? 2 months. 2 months.
2 months.
2 weeks.
Yes, sorry, I skipped one. I think this is just a typo error in page 7 of the document. Distribution network, development of an 800-kilometer last mile connectivity. 800 kilometer, is it right?
Yes, it's right. Yes, clear.
It's right. We're talking of network that goes up to half-inch pipe, 20 millimeters. So yes, it's right. We have the layout. I think that will be provided.
Yeah, you can respond.
Okay, I think on the issue of 2 contracts of similar nature in Sub-Saharan Africa, which has been raised, is something that will be considered and will clarify once we are in agreement with the other team members in the Victoria North. So this will be clarified in due time. On the requiring a document from the bank, I would like to ask from you what we can use to evaluate your financing, the institutions that you are going to propose for financing. So that one I leave to you. I will hear what you are saying, and then we'll consider the same. And once we have considered that, what will be agreed is what we will share in the clarifications or modifications. Feasibility study, I think we should be able to share with you now that you have justified why you need it. Of course, EPCF is a project that will, the funds which will go into the project will be paid by both the public who will be consuming the services and of course the government. So from that perspective, that should be made clear to the financing institutions that you are going to deal with. A copy of presentation, I think this is something that we can do. I think those were the ones, apart from the extension which we said will be handled later. Is there any other burning issue before I give this to Mark?
Maybe Senior can just add one. Yeah, thank you very much, Senior. We have received some hard copies of queries that have been sent to us. So what we'll generally do is that we'll prepare a matrix of queries and responses, irrespective of who asked them, because this is a procurement process and you all know. So we'll just populate the query and our response, and then this will be signed and issued formally to you. So any query that has not been asked here, you will see it in the clarification. It might have come as a hard copy. Are we together? So thank you. Any other query before we close? Now, Kanda can give us a hint of extension, whether it's 1 week, it's 2 hours, or whether he'll consult. Oh, please confirm that all your emails are legible, all your email addresses. All your email addresses, just cross-check with the secretariat here that your email is confirmed. Because from here, all communications will be on email. So you will be required to pass, check with our officer there. Just cross-check and tick if your email is clear. Sawa?
I know this extension of time is a difficult question because of stakeholders. You've seen the governor and also the president of this country is following this process. But I wished if all of you will give more time the second stage, because that is where we have a lot of work. Of course, I wish to requalify everyone. But because of our request, 2 weeks is good. 14 days. I have seen a question from China, and so you said you're starting your holiday from 24th. But I've wished you'd submit before 24th and go for your holiday. If holiday is the excuse, because you are starting, I saw that letter. It said you're starting the holiday from 24th January, and that 24th is the day we are closing. So if the request because of an holiday may not be tenable, because at the eve of when you are starting is the time you are starting holiday.
But since last year, December 20th, December 17th, you published this letter, right? Until now, you just give us a clarification. And also now, it's just overwork, not the official email, right? Today, you just give us the clarification, maybe tomorrow, right? So between December 20th to now, this December, nothing can happen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now that we have reduced the requirements, we have sought for intent for line of credit, intent for the bank to give loans of equivalent, which means it is not an agreement. So it is easier when you are given.
And with shared visibility.
Yes. And shared visibility study.
If you refuse to extend, we suggest all of us can just submit one letter to you at this stage before January 24th.
Just a letter.
Just a letter. A single letter, single page. Is it possible?
How will you evaluate?
After that, we prepare the other documents.
With the Kenyan laws, this is an hybrid. It is that document that was given out here is a document we have evaluated. I just want to know if you are compatible for 2 weeks.
2 months?
2 weeks.
2 months. 2 months.
We have a deadline of May.
Of May, okay.
Of May to conclude the process. To have signed a financial agreement and the contract for works.
Because we have Christmas, we have Chinese New Year, right?
Yes.
Because
Okay, 3 weeks, because we also need to treat the process fairly.
Since you give us 3, why not 4?
Then you're becoming complicated. Allow me to consult with CEO and leadership so that you'll get in your emails a proper extension.
Because also we are serious. You see, we come from Nairobi, long time. We drop here 6 hours, 7 hours, come here. We are
Yes.
serious. So please also serious to consider about the extension. Thanks.
we have shown the intent of extension, but the number of days can be consulted, and you'll get it in clarifications. But there will be an extension.
It's not 24, it will be extended.
Yes.
The date
will be, the new date will be given.
Engineer needs to clarify the No.
Now, you are satisfied, eh? Everything. Our emails, you don't know that our email is in the bidding document. That is, it's good also to send clarifications to your emails, so that when you do the handwritten emails and we type and we don't get it, we rely on whatever you've given. Okay. By law, you should give your queries early enough. The end of giving out clarification is 7 days before.
We send you December.
7 days before, because we don't. 7 days before submission, we will have clarified. So it means your queries should come earlier, so that you give the agency time to consolidate the queries and give out. 20? 2 weeks before. When we get the new date, 2 weeks before that closing, it is fair enough to give the agency time to do that queries. And now we will give queries to our email, and we will upload to our website those clarifications. Okay.
They need to confirm that they have received.
Any email you confirm that you have received.
Okay. I think on the issue of the mail, you have our email. So what we request is all of you who are here, I hope nobody has left, otherwise you'll not get your certificate. Just do a confirmatory email, just saying that you attended today's pre-bid conference, so that we get the correct email from each of you. Now I want us to close this session so that I can see somebody is preparing some things there. We can take lunch, then we go to the field. I want us to discuss the issue of financing capacity of the banks or the financing agencies, your suggestions. So I don't know who wants to go first, because we cannot be in a situation where we cannot evaluate. So we need the tools of evaluation for your financing partners. The suggestion now should come from you. Who wants to go first? The two, actually three, raise the issue. So I want suggestions from your end. So we either start with Strabag or China. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. What we have had in the past is that we just present a letter together with our application for EOE, a letter from the bank, signed by the bank saying that the letter of expression that they're interested to finance a similar project, and they give the conditions. They give the conditions, how much the interest will be, the range. They just give a range, a band. That is what we have done in the past, and it has worked out. So, and this is more or less the same thing we are looking at, because we make application to the banks, then the banks are going to write a letter now to the authority, to the agents. And if there is any clarification you may require, you can get it directly to the bank. Thank you.
Does the letter have an expiry date?
No, it is just purposely for a project. But of course, the bank cannot just keep some 10 billion there waiting for the authority to make, to come up and issue a date or whatever. So they always say within a period of 6 months or 1 year. So this is what's happening. We have used that in the past. Yeah. And alternatively, just another proposal, just because of the time we are talking about here with the restriction on the extension of time, could we issue a similar letter which has been used for a similar project in the country and which has gone through to the National Treasury as a proposal? Thank you.
No, the floor is yours. You are giving us ideas. We consider them. We decide on the best.
Okay, so for this financial, I also have a question about this one. Do you guys also accept concessional loan or commercial loan or PPP? Everything is okay, right, for you?
The National Treasury has a mix.
Mix.
Yeah. If you are familiar with the National Treasury requirements,
Okay, and for us, I think first, we stay here 20 years, and also many project also is the financial project. Some project is a concessional loan from China, and some is a commercial loan also from China. And the other one, you see, I know now the Kenya is most of the project is pushed by under the PPP mode. Also, we are contacting the private sector, the investors, also who has interest here in Kenya to do the power, because our main business is also a power project. Who has interest to do the invest for the power project and the water project. This is also right now we are working on it. So right now I cannot tell you clearly which mode we can use. So after today's.
You're asking, how do you evaluate your financing partner?
Our financial?
Financing partner. How do we, as the agency, evaluate?
First, we need the feasibility study.
No, how do we evaluate your financial?
My financial. They don't need to evaluate because they're reliable. We work together more than 20 years, not only in Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania. We have our financial.
Which document can you give us so that we are able to evaluate your financial compared to another financial?
Just as he mentioned about, also we'll also make an application or write a letter to the financial to make an introduction for this project. Ask the LY, yes, from the financial. So how they can give us the LY? They need a feasibility study. Yes. For their capability, don't worry about this. Yeah.
No, we must know. Because sometimes you may give us
some financials, are not very straightforward. We don't know whether they have done things against the law and things like that. So we need to have to know about them.
That's not what I worry. I just mentioned about the financial agreement. This is we need time to.
He has suggested a letter. You will suggest. Yeah. Okay. But we also need we'll also definitely need their financial statements. Those are public documents.
Any suggestion?
Okay. So any other person who has a suggestion on this? Okay, so we have gotten what you think, and we'll respond accordingly. Mark wants to add something, then we can hand over to Tom to tell us about the other activities before we go to site.
Okay. I think there's something that was said about Sub-Saharan Africa. Was it after? It was answered. Okay. Then, no, we want to flux because it's our opportunity. Because of that time, anywhere from the world, it's because we need good financials. We may be having good financial in Europe. We may have done something in Europe. We may have done something good similar nature in another country, Egypt. That's okay. You will get that one, that clarification. Yeah. I think that is fair enough, we avoid restriction so that everyone get fair competition.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, the engineers, for clarification. I think from this point we have had a good interaction. Any other, feel free, because our email address is open. If you get anything else that you want clarification and it was not asked here, it can be brought to our experts, and then they can be able to compile the same, and then they can reply. At this point, I will wish to invite you, all of you, for lunch, which is being served outside here. Then from after lunch, I will ask Engineer Bwire to come and give us the program after lunch.
You can just do now.
Okay, I'm saying you have invited them for lunch, but before they go, you give us the after lunch program. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. It depends where you went to school. Because in French school, Kamsinga is a very good school. So, as he has graciously invited us for lunch, we'll have a bite. We take how many minutes? Because we are pressed with time. 30 minutes is okay, maximum? Yes. 30 minutes maximum. That puts us at 14:30, 2:30. So at 2:30, we'll be leaving this place. And yes, our car will be the lead car. So we'll want to go to the dam site. The dam is a bit, we'll drive all the way, but the dam is in the forest. Takes how many hours to walk, engineer? From the road to the dam? About 45 to 1 hour. So it will be good that we show you the dam axis, the proposed dam, and then we'll come back. The other areas are not there to see. And from the feasibility study, you'll be able to get a lot of information on the proposed sites for the tanks, the T-works. So we are just proposing that we'll see the dam site, and then if you have any other question, we'll ask. And then thereafter, we'll issue the certificates. These certificates are mandatory, and original certificates must be attached to the expression of interest, not copies. The original that we are giving you today, signed by my boss here, is the one you attach. So you go make copies, but send original back to us. Yes?
Thank you. It's just a request, just to make sure that by the time we are going to the site, we can just try to shorten that by having the certificate. Is there a chance to have the certificate now, because we know who has attended? And the second one also, if the attendance sheet for the contractors can be signed, as is always the practice under the public procurement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll be assisted by the certificate. It's called pre-conference site visit certificate. What we have held here is a conference. We have not gone to site. Kama tumeenda site? Bado. So ile site yenye unapewa hapa, ile code certificate unapewa hapa, hiyo si site visit certificate. So we'll have to go to the site. Tutakubaliana kama tutakuwa pale. Kama mtataka tuingie kwa dam, ama tutafika hapo tuambie the dam is here, you will see the rest from the feasibility. That is now technical. But you must go closer to the dam. We cannot issue the certificate here. There was a question on contractors signing their own attendance list. I think you signed yours alone. The other members have signed another list here. And as it's practice, it will be part of the clarifications. When the minutes will be issued, the attendance list will be an annex to it. Tuko pamoja? If you want, they can even take photos. You can move around, you scan. That is better.
Or we allow to give them a new sheet with a full space of...
Secretariat tuko na ingine blank. Mark. Tuko na ingine blank yenye jajazwa. I think we just give them, they take photos, Then the other one will be shared in the clarifications. With that, bon appetit. And keep time, please. I'm now the chief whip.
Thank you very much. You are welcome for the lunch.
Attendants, they can take copies. They can scan.